Hello. Hi, Tony. Hi, Sandy.
Hello. Hi, Lisa.
How are you both?
I'm good. I'm actually working, but I'm going to be listening in.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to mute my phone and I have the camera muted, but I'll be listening in.
Okay, thanks for letting me know, Sandy.
Okay, thank you.
How's your evening going, Tony?
It's going well. I'm trying to be a handyman.
Ooh, what are you putting together or fixing?
Putting together a automatic waterer for some plants I have out back for my
Oh,
garden. So
a
I'm
whole
trying to stop a
irrigation
leak, yeah,
system.
on the timer. So I'm gonna go back out and see if it worked. We'll see.
Oh,
So
wow.
how are you? I haven't
I'm,
seen you. I saw you was it last summer?
I believe so.
You have
Yeah,
something at the house last summer?
I did. Yes. I'm well, thank you for asking. And good luck. I feel like that is quite a task. I feel like that's like engineering, uh, like architecture, all rolled into one. Kudos to you. What kind of plants do you have out back?
Um, I have a garden. Well, let's say this. I started a garden. So I
Hmm.
have tomatoes, peppers. I'm doing a vertical garden this year. And then that I have a lot of different stuff and I'm gonna see what actually grows. I put in some beans and some string beans and some herbs, and so I'll see how that works. But mainly I'm trying to get it so when I go out of town, I'm able to continue to water it.
Okay, and I feel like we're gonna have a hot summer, so I think this is perfect
Remember what
timing.
happened last year was horrible. It was horrible last year. It burnt my plants up. And so I got a harvest, but not as much as I did the year before.
Okay,
So I'm trying to alleviate some of that.
okay. What's the easiest thing that you found to grow?
Tomatoes.
Tomatoes, okay. And do you
And
eat
peppers,
tomatoes?
tomatoes and peppers are probably the easiest things. Last year I tried to grow okra, but it didn't do well at all. But the year before, and I just did it and it turned out really well, but I think last year was just too hot. So I'm
Okay.
gonna try that. And the year before, I was also I got a couple eggplants off of the eggplant, but last year it was just too hot. Nothing. So I also have to figure out how I can do some type of shade cloth. So I have to figure that out. So it's becoming very detailed. But yeah, but I think tomatoes, especially for a new gardener, I think tomatoes, and I'm growing onions, and they're doing very well. And I literally just threw them in the ground.
Okay.
So they're doing pretty good so far. My tomatoes are doing well. So we'll see.
And sorry, I'm intrigued. So I don't have any space to plant in the ground out back. And you mentioned a vertical garden. Is that something you're gonna put on a wall and put like
It's
planters?
something that I bought. It's called a green stalk. Have you ever heard of it? And you only need square feet of space.
Okay.
So I put in lettuces. I just really planted it. What's this week? I just planted it last week. Yeah, and little things are coming up. So I did some by seed and I did some by plants. I'll send it to you.
Okay,
I'll
thanks.
send you a link so you can take a look at it. They got a
Thank you.
web page and they're on YouTube. So if you want to see what people are doing, because I was in a townhouse. I moved from a single family home to a townhouse, which was crazy. And because my kids were grown and was gone, and I didn't want any yard. So then 20 years later, I started missing it. So, but I grow most of my tomatoes and everything are in bags. So I was still able to have a garden even on my deck. And I literally just had a deck.
Oh, wow. Okay. That gives me
And
hope.
I grew tomatoes, peppers. What else did I grow? Herbs. I grew rosemary, thyme, mint. In fact, I still have the mint plant. Because it just comes back. What else did I grow? And I did it on I did it on my deck.
Okay. Okay, you're giving me faith because I could keep indoor plants alive, as you can see, but
Yeah.
outdoor, they have no chance. But if you're saying I could do it without having like it in the ground, that makes me feel better.
Mhm.
Okay,
And
I'm
so
gonna look
most of
into
mine
that.
are in bags, and this is my first time using this vertical garden. But most of my plants are in like my eggplant, I'm actually gonna try to grow a cantaloupe. I don't know how that's gonna work out. But everything is, I have bags. I have 5, 7, and 20-gallon bags.
Okay.
Mhm.
Specifically for
Grow
plants.
peppers in a 5-gallon bag. You can almost grow peppers in anything. They're pretty easy.
Okay. Well,
And
thank you.
tomatoes, you just need to get a smaller one, which is a determinate. And the indeterminates are the ones that grow really big. I have 20-gallon bags, so I can grow those. But if I wanted to, I think next year I'm gonna just do determinants, which means they get bushy, not tall.
Okay.
But you can get a nice harvest off of them.
And you know all the lingo. Okay, we might have to talk. Thank you in advance for sending me that,
Okay,
so I can look into it. Thank you. Okay, well, I love talking and learning about people. So now I know you have an excellent green thumb, and if I ever need if we ever go into a tomato shortage, I know where to get mine. Uh, well, okay. We will get to this information session so you can get back to your irrigation system. I'm excited to hear how that goes when you have it all set up. Share pictures if you remember. We do have a few people who signed up tonight. There are a total of 5. I think one person emailed me and they said they couldn't make it, but we're just going to get started and maybe people will trickle in. This is recorded so that I can share the link with the people who are delayed or might not make it. And of course, for everybody who's here, if you guys want to revisit anything. So we'll just get started with the trip information session so that I can share so that I can be timely. Now, Tony, I know Sandy's been on a few. Sandy, I know you're interested in the summer glamp, so we'll end the cruise. You've already seen the cruise, so I don't know if we're going to present the cruise quite yet. But that originally, I do like to have a schedule just because I can't present all of the trips in the hour and a half allotted. But if there are people who are actually on the session and you guys and the other people are not here, I would rather share the trips that you guys are most interested in. So because Sandy's working and listening in the background, I'm gonna prioritize the 2 trips that you're most interested in, Tony, which are Bali and Japan. My one question to you regarding Bali, I, as you might know, that trip is next month. So,
oh, no, I didn't realize that.
okay, well,
Okay, so
maybe
you
that,
don't have to, yeah, no.
okay, so that might be a little too soon. So we'll skip that. This is actually the second year that we've done Bali, so maybe Bali will come back up in a future trip. So we'll just focus on the second trip that you are most interested in, which is the Japan trip.
Yes.
And we'll go through that and then we'll see what other trips you might be interested in, or we'll just go through the ones that Sandy is most interested in. So just bear with me because I haven't pulled up the Japan trip yet. So I'm gonna pull that up so that I can share my screen with you in a moment.
I have a question for you about, really about all of the trips.
Okay.
Reasons why I've been hesitating about going somewhere with the political environment that's happening here and our relationships with a lot of the other countries. I was concerned that, and I know I would get trip insurance, but I was concerned that if for some reason we cannot go, say for some reason a country says no more Americans, let's just say, because of everything that's going on, what happens then?
Well,
Because now what I'm hearing is war, no trip insurance will cover like an act of war, um, or I'm just trying, I don't know that they would even cover that if a country said no, we don't want any more Americans coming in. I'm just saying.
right, right. Well, I mean, that's personally never come up with any of the trips I've planned, but and I would have to look over the policies from the company that I is my preferred vendor, but I feel like that would definitely be covered. But also just so you know how I plan and vet places, I mean, I do my due diligence and I definitely look at the political climate, the safety, whether queer people are welcomed, invited, all of that. And so I don't want us to go any place that we're not going to be comfortable or welcomed, or some places it's not legal to be gay. That's a lot of the world. So some places we do go, but no place where we're going to be ostracized. Anyway, if something did come up and we couldn't go on a trip, then everybody's going to get a refund. Like, fortunately, how it works for me is so I'm a travel advisor as a, my part-time. I'm an attorney as my full-time, but I'm a licensed travel advisor. And so I have a lot of these places that we work with for the hotels and the excursions are vendors. So I have a personal relationship with them. And when I plan the trip, like, I'm in communication with them. I get the pricing. I essentially book or reserve a trip, but a lot of times I don't have to pay them money up front. So, especially with excursions,
Right.
those are like literally a month or two before the trip. Sometimes with hotels, I do have to give a deposit. And if we do like something like a private villa for an Airbnb, I do have to pay that in advance. But stuff like that, I would definitely, as a company, I would take the loss if there was even a loss. And I would cancel a trip because I don't want us to go anywhere that, well, technically that's not that we can't, so that wouldn't even be the case. Everybody would get a refund. But I do think it would be covered under trip insurance. I just have to look into that. Like, I mean, it just hasn't come up yet, but like natural disasters are covered. So I don't know why a war or a company or
I know, I just saw this really um last week. They did something, it was on TV, and because I actually was scheduled to go on a trip with some friends. It was just a group of us. And we, just before the war broke out, we were going to Israel and Egypt, I think. But what happened was the cruise itself canceled it because the war broke out. We were supposed to go last October. Um, so that was my thought because of the political environment right now. And quite honestly, you know,
no, that makes sense.
pissing everybody off. So
Yeah. Well, I'm glad they canceled it, and hopefully they didn't give you any hassle.
no, they didn't, because they canceled the entire cruise to that area because we were going out of Spain, I think out of Spain. And we were definitely going to Israel and we were going to Egypt, and I can't remember where else, but because of that, it was canceled. So they gave us some money back.
No, that's good. I did a Mediterranean cruise years ago, and one of the stops was supposed to be Turkey, but at that time, we couldn't go into Turkey after the cruise was booked. However, the rest of the places we could go to, so the cruise, they altered the itinerary, and so we
Okay.
still got to go on the cruise. I don't know if they gave us an option for a refund or not, but yeah, that's exactly how I would work. I would definitely cancel the cruise. I also, just if people are feeling uncomfortable, I completely understand. And I don't want to, especially if I haven't invested any money, I'm not going to lose any money on my end. If something happens and someone can't go on a trip, like I'm going to work with them to give them a full refund if possible. Right? Like if it's a month before the trip and they booked it like, 6 months ago and they, I don't know how much wiggle room I'll have with them with giving a full refund. It's hard because most stuff is already paid for at that point. But when possible, I do definitely work with people, like even for personal reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a great question. Thank you for asking. I mean, ultimately, I feel like I'm a person of integrity. I want my company to also have integrity, so I don't want anybody to be where they don't want to be, personally or, safety wise. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. But great question, and I will definitely look into this insurance thing. I know, yeah, with the state of the world, these conversations are definitely they're coming up. So yeah, it would be good for me to know if my preferred vendor for trip insurance and the company I use for my personal travel, if they have that, if they've thought that far ahead. So I'll look into that and I'll try to get back to you with an answer about what they're doing.
What do you just give, do you have a company that you use or that a person can book through?
Yes, and I was using them before I even started the travel portion of Lesbifriends, Alliance, ALLI.
Yes, I know, I'm aware.
Okay. So, because I was traveling so much during the pandemic, I invested in an annual trip insurance plan with them rather than doing for each trip. I just paid like $800 and that covers me for the year. And there was actually a time during COVID that I did have to cancel a trip. It was just a trip to Philadelphia, but it was with a concert and a really nice bed and breakfast. And I caught COVID and they made it so easy and seamless for me to get a refund. Like I don't even know if I had to have a COVID test, right? But it was just very easy for me to communicate, upload my documents, whatever that like the booking documents and literally get a refund, like get a reimbursement within a week. So that's why I personally like using them. And when I do, if someone is interested in most trip insurance is the same, right?
Yeah,
To be honest, like they're going to be comparable with what you pay. I just personally have had a good experience with them, so that's what I recommend. And so if you ever did book a trip with Lesbifriends and you wanted a quote, I could give you a quote for what the trip is going to cost, and then I'll send you that quote. You can review it, and if and when you want to purchase, you purchase directly through the company.
okay.
So you can do, and you can compare, but also nowadays, a lot of our credit cards have trip insurance built in. People just have to do their own individual research on which, how much is covered. So I always like to tell people that if you don't have to pay for it out of pocket, don't, but just make sure you're paying for that whole trip on that credit card or it's not going to be valid. They're not going to cover you
Right.
typically. Okay.
Okay. Thank
We'll
you.
get it. No problem. All right. I am going to share my screen with you. Um, and sometimes I do icebreakers, but we've kind of already broken the ice, so we'll just get into it so I can share as much as possible if there are other trips that you or Sandy want to get to know about. So this is actually a great trip. My friend Kyrisha was over today and we were co-working and she was telling me this is the one trip. She went on the South Africa trip last year with the group and she said this is the one trip she wants to go on this year if she gets a bonus at work. So hopefully she gets a bonus that she can go. This is a good trip. So far on this trip has I think 7 people signed up. And then right behind this trip is Egypt and Jordan, and that has 6 people signed up so far. This trip isn't until October, so I feel like it's definitely is going to fill up, just so you know my numbers. I have had up to 20 people on an international trip, and while that's a great number, I feel like a good number for all of the moving parts for this trip, because we are going to be going to so many places. is 8 to 12. So I am capping it at 12 people for this trip, and we're halfway full. And I think the deadline is 2 months before the trip. So you still have time, but I just want to give you that heads up.
Okay.
I know you've been to an event, but just a little bit of background about Lesbifriends, because it's built into the presentation. I started it in well, a little bit about me, I guess, too. I've traveled quite a bit, mostly for personal reasons. I never had a job that sent me anywhere except Milwaukee for training, which is fine. I did have a good time. It was my first job out of college, so at least it was something. But I've done a lot of just traveling personally through school as well. I got to do semester at sea when I was in undergrad, and then I studied in Amsterdam when I was in law school. And then just because of my exposure to travel through my academics, I just grew to love travel, and I wanted to do it myself just as a pastime. So it's something that I love, and I was talked into um, sharing travel and my organization skills with the group a few years ago. I think it was like 2022, because I had been hosting events for over 10 years, and I had been hosting like a annual winter trip, and I did a couple summer trips. But finally, I was convinced to do an international trip, and I think they've all been a great experience. I love sharing travel, whether I've been there or I'm learning about a new place. I love curating and curating things for people, and so this kind of combines my love of both worlds. And I love people and getting to know people. And creating community. So all the things I selfishly combined into this business, and that's how you get Lesbifriends travel. Before we were wine and Lesbifriends because we were drinking wine at my house, and we still do that sometimes, but now we're more of a traveling group, as you can see. So the things that make us a little bit different, and I'm not saying that other companies don't do this, because they definitely do, and hopefully they will continue to do them, but I try to give people what I would want to experience on a trip. So those are from the itineraries to the travel guides to the community connection. Like, these are all things that I crave. So I put those into what you get on a Lesbifriends experience, travel experience. So all of the itineraries, like I mentioned at the beginning, I vet places, I do research. My list for next year, I have a list of 20 places. We cannot go to 20 places because I still have a job I need to show up for. So I'm trying to whittle that list down to maybe 10 international trips. But I do the research, I vet to make sure it's safe, to make sure we're going to have a good experience as queer people of color, and to make sure it's like a really good time of year. Like I make sure we don't go when it's peak tourist season or it's ridiculously hot and humid. So I'm going to do all of that research ahead of time and create an itinerary that's unique to that place. Of course, we all see the popular travel destinations and the popular things to do in different places, but I kind of want to expose people to things that are off the beaten path. So, and also just what I hear people tell me when they come on these information sessions, how they like to travel, what they like to do, as well as places we've been on previous trips, what has been what has gotten a good response versus like maybe people didn't enjoy it as much. And I take all that information and I create an itinerary for specific places moving forward. So that's going to be curated for the destination, but also for the group and what I've learned about brown women who like to travel together. I also offer roommate matching. So if you are coming as a solo traveler and you might want to not spring for a room, a single occupancy, it might save you $1,000. I'm always that person who's a little bit frugal when I travel, so I will have a roommate because really we just are going to sleep in the same room, and we're going to be out and about enjoying the space in the country anyway. So I do a detailed survey, so I get to know you a little bit better, your preferences, and I can match you with that with the perfect person on the trip who's going to be respectful of your space, your your boundaries, the thing, you know, the temperature you like in the room and all that jazz. Um, I also put together packing lists for the specific destinations that we go. So you kind of don't have to think. I mean, I know we all have a list of things that we like to pack, but sometimes you just need to know that you need to bring a umbrella to Thailand, not because it's going to rain, but because the sun is that hot and you're just going to need an umbrella because yes, you're going to need an umbrella. And then there also, as you know, because you've been to an event before, there are events that are just open to the public, but and so anybody can come and be a part of the Lesbifriends community. But then there are specific events just for people who have been on trips and who are going on trips. So we can connect and get to know one another ahead of time on trips, or if it's after a trip that you've been on, it's kind of like having a reunion with people that you got, you know, you haven't seen in a few months. So that would be number 4. And then number 5, the pre-trip community, group chat. Every trip that you're on, there is a chat group that's created. I use the platform WhatsApp just because it's so accessible and a lot of people use that in other countries. So we get on a chat group at least a month before the trip to get to know each other. We do icebreakers. We talk about where we're from, what we're packing, you know, what we're wearing on the theme night. Sandy's coming on the cruise to the Virgin Voyages cruise in a couple months, or a month and a half actually from now, and we're already talking about that stuff in that group, which is fun to do. And then last but not least, travel guides for a bit more insight on the countries. I'm going to put a section in there about weather. I'll have I will tell you what to pack on theme nights. I'll give you the currency breakdown, a tipping guide. Um, I'll give you some plate recommendations to go to eat, and as well as places that might be more queer friendly, or neighborhoods, just stuff like that. So you don't have to do all of that yourself. You're kind of just, you can do all that if you want to, but you're going to get a detailed travel guide with all of that information. So you don't have to do all that extra legwork and you can kind of just show up. Okay, so that's a little bit of background about what you get from the experience just across the board. Now let's get into the first trip, which is Japan. So as you may know, it takes a while to go to Japan in itself, right? This is not a quick flight. You're gonna be in the air for a day and then some. And you might take 2 or more planes. So while I would have loved for us to spend 2 whole weeks in Japan, I know my vacation time's not built like that, and other people's might not be either. So we are going to make the most out of this week and change trip, and head to 3 different places in Japan, October 13th through the 20th. So we're going to start in Tokyo, head to Kyoto, and then end in Osaka. So this trip also is unique in that we're flying into one city and we're leaving out of another city. I do need to reference that because I did have a traveler who booked their round trip flight to and from Tokyo, and then we had to figure out how we were going to get them back to Tokyo from Osaka. But luckily, we had plenty of time and we did that. They're also very much ahead of the game because they already booked their flight. I'm very impressed. But yes, I do want to mention that just in case it comes up for anybody who's watching this. So we are staying in 3 very unique accommodations, and I try to pick hotels that are, again, not like they're not going to be the Marriott or the Hyatt, even though those are very nice brands that we recognize. Sometimes it's nice to have a more boutique-ish feel where the concierge and the person at the front desk is going to actually get to know your name because, you know, you are a select handful of guests who are staying at the hotel and they want to make your experience great. So as you can imagine, Tokyo is very modern. And this the first hotel we are staying in is in a great area that is very walkable. So you can go out and explore during free time. The hotel also offers great views. It's a good mixture of luxury, but also traditional Japanese culture as well. And what we will experience as this urban oasis in our first stop in Japan. Next, we are going to be staying in Kyoto, and which is known as Japan's ancient capital. This is more of a serene space and it offers a little bit even a more traditional feel to the Japanese culture, as you can see by the beds that are lower to the floor. Um, but just all around, Japan is, as you probably know, modern, sleek, clean, and advanced. I mean, they are very advanced. I've been there once, and this was 20 years ago, and I mean they were still light years ahead of us, and what they had to offer. And then last but not least, this is probably going to be the most traditional space that we stay. But there's also a lot of this place that we're staying in Osaka. Again, I tried to pick hotels that because Japan is very bustling, I tried to pick hotels that were in safe but also walkable areas. So if you do want to go grab something to eat, you literally will have something steps outside of where we're staying. Or if you wanted to go shopping, this is also a good area for that. So our 8-day journey.
I just wanted to interject. That was actually one of the best things about Spain, where we were living and we all just kind of had our, we could just go outside, go eat, or everything was just like right there. So that was one of the good things that I really enjoyed about Portugal and Spain, that where we stayed was so central to everything.
Thanks, Sandy. I appreciate that. Yes. Not everywhere, unfortunately, but I was very strategic about that for, yes, these modern, bustling, walkable cities. I feel like we have to get the most out of our week journey there. So when you do arrive in Tokyo, you will be picked up from the airport. I do suggest an arrival time on the website, just so it's not set in stone, but I do ask that suggest people arrive between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. because check-in is usually 3 p.m. And I don't want people to have to just hang out with their stuff at the airport or at the hotel. I mean, if you do get in early because it's a cheaper flight or more convenience, by all means, I will make sure there is a ride waiting for you to take you to the hotel. But that's just excuse me, the most optimal time. Also, if you get in later than that or too late, then you might miss the first evening's festivities. And typically, after a long day of travel, I don't plan too much, but at least I want people to be able to meet everyone in person as well as to explore a little bit on their first night, if they're up for it. So I try to tell people not to get in too late. So after we get settled into our hotel, then we will explore Shibuya's famous Scramble Crossing, Center Guy, and Shibuya Scramble Square. And then we'll do dinner together as a group, but that is not included in the package, if you will. A lot of meals are, but unfortunately, I can't do all meals, or that would make the trip that much more expensive. And it would also take away your autonomy. And I think that it's important to give people the option to eat what they want to eat. Okay, so breakfast is included every day at all of the hotels. So know that. The the second day and the first full day that we are in Japan, this is kind of like an art day, and we're gonna explore some modern art spaces. figure I don't know that I'm a huge museum person, even after spending a whole summer in Europe. I feel like I'm all museumed out. But these museums are renowned, world renowned, and they're just really unique experiences, immersive experiences. So I did want to give, and actually a person who signed up for the trip, she knew about them before. She's like, that's one of the things that drew me into going on this trip because I already wanted to go there. So we are going to go to Team Lab Borderless and the Mori Art Museum to explore on this day. And we will have these will be guided tours so we'll have a local person who is, very knowledgeable about the area, um, traveling with us that day. We will do a tour of Skytree, and then we will do a private cruise along the Smita River. It will be a long day, but for those who might want to fit in a little bit extra, I always like to just include things in case you haven't gotten your fill. So there is an optional add-on for those who might want to do something a little bit more traditional and take a traditional Japanese taiko drum lesson. On day 3, after breakfast, we are going to do a flower arranging class. And then before heading to the Imperial Palace, the East Gardens, I also do like to note that part of that travel guide that I put together, I do research into like what is appropriate clothing to wear, what is respectful for cultural norms. So I do share things like that. So you will be aware of, when we go to places like palaces, what is appropriate for us as visitors to wear. And then we will also enjoy and explore an outer fish market as well. On day 4, after now we're moving to our next destination. So we've had 3 great days in Tokyo, and now we get to go to Kyoto. I've never taken a bullet train, so I'm probably most excited about that. Because I hear it's also just a really different and modern experience in Japan as well. So we're going to head to Kyoto, and Kyoto is a great place for tradition and history as well. We'll start with a food tour at the Nishiki Market, and that's known as Kyoto's Kitchen. We'll get to experience some local delicacies before we actually get to put on a kimono of our own and have a traditional tea ceremony. And so we'll learn the art and the zen of tea. I mean, I probably drink tea at least twice a week, but I probably don't appreciate it as much as I should. So I thought because this is such a traditional part of their culture, that we should experience that in an immersive experience. And then we'll end the day with a visit to the Samurai and Ninja Museum, and we'll get to try on samurai armor and learn about Japan's ancient warrior culture. On day 5, this is as you can see, there's not a ton of free time built in because we only have a week and change. So we're just know that not all of our trips are on the go, but this trip is going to be one that we're moving a lot. There was going to be, of course, some downtime. We're not always going to be on our feet. We're going to be like in air-conditioned motor coaches that are very comfortable, but we are going to try to fit in a lot of sites in the short time that we're there. So on day 5, we get to see some of Kyoto's most iconic sites, including the Golden Pavilion, Naijo Castle, and I'm sorry, I need to practice my pronunciation, Kimizu Dera Temple. And all of these are going to offer a glimpse into Japan's culture. In the afternoon, we'll experience Ishumi Inari Tashi, which is an area famous for its thousands of vermin torii gates. And then in the evening, so we're gonna see a lot of unique architecture that you can only find in Japan. Then in the evening, um, I did offer an optional half-day biking tour, but I don't know that you're going to be up to it, up for it. We probably have too much going on. Maybe on the next visit to Japan, but in the evening we'll get to immerse ourselves in a traditional geisha show, in the historic Gaion district. And that's where a lot of artful performances happen. So we're going to what would be considered their theater district. On day 6, we have to say goodbye to Kyoto as we head to Osaka. And in Osaka, we'll get to really dive into the city's vibrant food scene with a hands-on cooking class. This is probably one of my favorite things to do on a trip, Tony. As Sandy might tell you, I love a cooking class. I feel like you get to learn about the place's culture, but really get to have fun and interact with fellow travelers. And then you just get to eat really good food that you prepared and feel really accomplished. And I feel like that's like the best souvenir to bring back. I'd rather learn a skill than bring back like, a souvenir that I'm never gonna actually use or appreciate. Um,
I will say, Tony, when we went to Spain, we made the best paella. It was so good. We made paella. It was the class itself was amazing. Our instructor was very nice. She was a lot of fun. The cooking class was a hit. We all love that.
Okay.
Andy. It looks like Tony might enjoy that too. So we'll get to choose from preparing some iconic dishes like sushi, ramen, or okonomiyaki, and discover why Osaka is known as the kitchen of Japan. Then you'll finally get some downtime of your own, and we can explore the city at our own pace. Osaka has a great street food scene and bustling nightlife. So even though our day touring might be over, you can still enjoy the streets and take in the sights while we're there. Then day 7 is the day that you can kind of explore Osaka on your own. I will give you again, in that travel guide, I give a lot of suggestions of places to go, from the famous shopping streets, to the food paradise, Dotonbori. So you can, and Japan is very safe. So even though you'll probably be like exploring alleyways, they're going to be colorful. There's going to be a vibrant local art scene with hidden gems, just like as we explore. Or if you want, you can just relax at the hotel. And if you don't have to be out on the streets, but I will be out on these streets, so you can join me if you want to get your steps in. Then our last day, unfortunately, we have to say our goodbyes. And unless you're continuing your trip, I always say if you are flying all the way to Asia and you have a few extra vacation days, and even a few hundred extra dollars, it might be worth it to hop on a flight somewhere else and take in another country. When I went to Thailand last year for a group trip, I did also hop over to Vietnam, which was like a $150 flight. They're 4 and 5 star hotels. Of course, it's Vietnam, so they're very affordable, probably like what we would pay for like a 2 or 3 star hotel. So, and if there is interest in extending your trip, I'm happy to, help you figure out where that might make the most sense. Just so you know what's included, just a quick recap. The airport drop off, all of the accommodations, the breakfast, lunch, and some dinners, all of the transportation, all of the excursions and activities mentioned. Um, I do like to put together a swag bag for that specific area. And then of course you're gonna hopefully feel very well supported leading up to the trip, but also on the trip with myself, and or another trip leader and a local tour guide, who will be like, our who will be our right hand woman or man to helping us get around and answering all the questions throughout the trip that, I might not know myself because I don't live in Japan. You just have to get yourself to and from Japan. I also am happy to do any flight searches with you and help you pick the right flight. Um, if you want, I've done a couple of those for this trip already and help people like set up trackers just so they can be aware of, what the prices are looking like because they weren't quite ready to buy their flight yet. You just have to get yourself travel insurance. Again, I do provide that free quote. Right now, there aren't any vaccines that you need for Japan, so we're winning. And then you just have to take care of like the extras that you normally would have to on a trip. If you did want to go on this trip, a double occupancy, so that means two people in a room. If you're going with someone who you know and you want to share a bed, you can. But if you're going with someone who you know and you don't want to share a bed, or just you are going with someone, you're going to be matched with a roommate, that would be two beds and two people in the room. A single occupancy means you get to get your own room, of course, and your own bed. Right now through the end of May, I have two specials, or promotions because it's my birthday month. And so I'm offering $300 off any international trip except the cruise because I have no pull on the cruise ship, unfortunately. So you get $300 off if you book any trip in May. And then if you pay in full, you can get 15% off of that trip. So depending on, which option, it's a good value. But at any time, if you pay in full, you can get a 10% off discount code for the trip. Um, of course, that, locks you in, but it also, it gives you a little bit of a discount off the top, which sometimes can come in handy. All right, I'm going to stop. Sorry, I have all the windows up. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a couple minutes just to pause and see if there are any questions. And you are muted, Tony, and Sandy. So if you did have any questions.
What did I just do? Okay. As far as a roommate, if you're looking for a roommate, how would you go ahead and book the double and see what happens?
Yes. So I'll pull up my handy dandy Japan spreadsheet so I can see. I feel like, all right, so out of this, okay, I did say seven. I'm sorry. Seven, including me. So out of the six people who have signed up for this trip, 1, 2, 3 people have chosen double single occupancy and 3 people have chosen double occupancy. So,
Okay.
and nobody has a roommate, including myself. So, yes, if you wanted to roll, if you wanted a roommate with the roommate matching, you would sign up for double occupancy.
Okay.
And yes, if this trip is filled well ahead of time, like let's say 3 months in advance, I definitely like to match roommates sooner than later. And then also with roommate matching, this is something we did in Portugal and Spain because we did 3 separate stops there. We switched roommates. So you might not have the same roommate the entire time, which is nice too.
Okay.
But I do try to, be mindful of personalities. So if one person's like super chatty and the other person likes complete quiet, like you probably won't end up in a room with that, your opposite. So yeah, I make sure to ask all those questions so people feel comfortable. And I do make an introduction ahead of time so you can meet via email and exchange numbers and maybe chat. But also when we get before the trips, we do a trip kickoff, a virtual trip kickoff, because not everybody's local. So we have a meeting just like this, but about the trip specifically, and only people who are coming on that trip get on that meeting to learn more details about the trip. Like, and I can answer any questions because that's when people really start paying attention, like a month before the trip, which is completely fine. And so you'll meet your roommate there as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, any other questions? And if you think of something later, that's fine. But yeah, I mean, the trip is pretty straightforward. We're gonna be on the go. We're gonna be taking in a lot of culture, eating good food, experiencing as much of the Japanese culture as we can in the 8 days that we're there. Yeah. Okay, so since it's just the three of us right now, I can definitely do another trip that you're interested if you have any off the top of your head, Tony, but if not, I'll go through the ones that Sandy mentioned she was interested in.
You can go to Sandy because she's a.
Okay. And if I mean, of course, we would love to have you stay on, but if you've gotten your fill with Japan, no pressure.
Oh, no, no, because this gives me a chance to just kind of see how things work, so I can go back and look at a couple of the other trips.
Yes, great. Yes, that's absolutely right. And all the trips are going to be a little bit different because I mean, they're all different places. Like some are more relaxing, like some are even like I do have one turn up trip, if you will. Some are more like rural or rugged. So yeah. Sandy said she is most interested in the cruise and the summer glam. Sandy, you have a preference of which one I do first?
Um, probably, um, probably the glamp because the cruise pretty much is, the cruise.
Got it. All right, let's do the summer glam.
I've been looking for a red outfit for the cruise.
Oh, are you? I'm glad people are so on it. Yeah, I'll be sharing that travel guide in the next couple weeks. So
Okay.
um I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
It's like we're excited, but it's still too far away to like get that excited. So okay, let me share my screen with you again. This one. Okay. So, and so this is a completely unique trip. I've never done a summer glamp before. So why this trip even came to fruition is early last year, it was in January, I went on a retreat. I it was actually a yoga retreat. I went on a retreat and it was in the space at River Mountain. I booked it the week or 2 weeks before because I had something cancel last minute. And I was like, I just need a getaway. I need a reset. I need like just time with myself and to relax. And so I signed up for a yoga retreat there and I was so impressed. The yoga retreat only had three people on it, me and two others, and the person who was leading it. But I was so impressed with the space that I was like, I want to do a trip here. And so initially I was thinking I was going to do something in the winter, but then Vice President Harris was running for office. So I pivoted because inauguration weekend was the same weekend that I picked for this trip. And I was like, well, our girl's going to get it. Unfortunately, she didn't. But I figured I didn't want to compete with inauguration. So everything works out for a reason, though. I did switch the trip to the summertime, and I think that was the right move because um, better weather. I feel like people are going to want to be out in nature more. And we'll get to enjoy the space even more in the summertime as opposed to the winter. The winter would have been beautiful as it was when I went, but the summertime is going to be even better. So first things first, we are going July 24th through the 27th. If if I get all my numbers, this will be the biggest trip I've ever done. So to date, the biggest trip I've ever done is around 45 people, and that was a winter trip. I've done a couple of those to Deep Creek where I've rented multiple houses. This is the first time I've ever rented out a full resort. So the resort holds up to 100 people, but I'm thinking we're gonna get about 60 to 70 people on this, and we are a little bit over halfway there, with a couple more months to go. So, and we know how last minute people are, which is completely fine. So without further ado, let's get into the accommodations. So this space is it's a glamping resort in the mountains. Um, it was always existed, but I think during the pandemic is when it like they added a bunch of cabins and they renovated it, and then it became the pristine, serene space that it did. It was like a much smaller setup before that. The pictures and the videos don't really do it justice, but these are some of the accommodations. So the video that we're looking at here are the glamping pods. And so there are 4 glamping pods as a part of this trip. They're like big cabins that have 14 individual spaces for people to sleep. The spaces that you don't have a door, but you do have what is that called? A curtain for privacy. So there are upper and lower bunk bed. They're called bunks, I guess. They're upper and lower. The upper ones have they're not they're you have to climb up to get to them, but the view will be well worth it because you have a skylight. So you're literally falling asleep under the stars. I slept on a bottom one before and I was perfectly fine with that. Because I didn't want to have to go up and down. But I do hear that the stars look so amazing at night from the top bunk. There's a little locker, so if and there's space that you can move around, but essentially you're not going to be in your cabin or your pod the entire time. So you don't have to get that invested in where you're sleeping because you're going to be doing most of the activities outside in the different camping spaces that will be. But that's just one of the accommodations that you can choose. It's called a glamping pod. Then they also have yurts, where they have 2 queen beds in each of the yurts. They have heat and they have air as well. So they have electricity. And each yurt has its own designated bathroom. I actually have a few people who booked, there's a total of 9 yurts, and I think there are 3 left. There's a couple people who booked their own yurt, which is great. I get it. I like single occupancy too, but I'm definitely staying in a pod with other people. I don't know that I'm that campy that I want to be like outside. But the yurts are very nice too. So those are the 2 options for accommodation, the yurts and the glamping pods. And then it's just a beautiful space overall, River Mountain. It's hundreds of acres of space that we'll have exclusive access to. Um, and yeah, I mean, we'll get into it more, but it's just really a beautiful space. There's hot tubs, there's a freshwater pond, there's a literally it's a greenhouse, but it's where we're going to do it's a huge space, so it's just like all windows where we're going to do yoga and some of the workshops. So we're inside but it feels like we're outside. There's a barn where a renovated barn where we're going to have a dance party. um it's very modern, even though it is a camping space. It's elevated camping. I'm not sleeping on anybody's dirt floor, so just know we're going to be in nice accommodations. That and the food is amazing. It's like farm to table, very fresh, really good flavors, and that's all included. And then the staff that will be supporting us while we're there, um literally, if you want them to light a campfire, they will. Like, they're so accommodating. They're a great group of people as well. And they're all local and from the area. I've been there a couple times since, and I've always had really good positive interactions with them. So on day 1, everybody gets there, ideally before 6 o'clock, because that's when we're gonna do our happy hour. We're gonna have happy hours daily. I know not everybody's a drinker, but there will be like mocktails and juice, for people who don't partake in the sangria and the beer. So that's gonna be included. After we get settled and we have our happy hour, where some people will already have made each other's acquaintance. We'll have a welcome circle and an orientation for the community of 60 campers or glampers, and then we'll have our community dinner. If there are specific dietary preferences that people have, they will accommodate them. They're very good about that. And I handle all of that typically up front in the registration. Then in the evening, we're going to do a campfire and storytelling time, and enjoy s'mores and just kind of have like a chill, relaxing night. The first day we arrive, and then for those who want to stretch it out a little bit, I'm not that person. I probably will be chatting someone up in the corner. But for those who want, there will be a restorative yoga and night meditation session in that greenhouse that I mentioned. On day 2, there will be offering sunrise yoga for those who are the early birds who want to stretch out. We will have a delicious breakfast and we'll have a mindful meditation journaling workshop. Actually, let me pull up my workshops because some of my workshops I'm actually solidifying workshops right now, with the different workshop leaders. So just to give you an idea of some of the workshops, because some of these have changed a little bit. We are going to do, one of our workshops is called Sip and Savor. It's going to be a tea ceremony and mindfulness. Another is going to be called Show Me the Ropes. So it's going to have like a little bit of rope play for those who want to, not just like with a partner, but just, to explore by yourself. And so that will be one of the that will be workshops that one person is offering. Another person is offering a mindful exploration of breath, movement, and embodiment. And we're going to also do some like fun games with some movement, and a Simon Says mindful movement workshop as well. Let's see. The person who does my website, she's very talented and has also taken, and she will also be like, capturing moments of joy on this trip. She's going to offer us a digital time capsule workshop for those who might want to explore like how to, make memories everlasting. And then we're going to do a sexual taboos workshop, more like a conversational workshop. And then that same workshop leader another day is going to do a workshop called Using Art as a Means of Healing. So we'll get to share poetry, visual art, scrapbooking, quilting, crafting, and that will be a discussion, and a demonstration of how we can weave a story, and create a story, through visual arts, and in our own stories. Okay, there's like 3 more, but 3 or 4 more. But let me get back to the traditional, or what I said was going to be the schedule. I'm finalizing that now as I got my workshop presenters. So this is going to change a little bit, but overall, we're going to have creative workshops. We're going to do outdoor games. So those will be available for people to do on their own. If you don't want to go to a workshop, you don't have to. They're just offered for people who might want a little bit of a lead activity, but there will be plenty. In the space, there's going to be plenty for people to just enjoy on their own. This is summer camp. You can do with it as you want. You're not tied into anything. So you can go with the flow, you can participate, you can sit out, you can just go enjoy the hot tub, You can take yourself on a nature walk. There will be guided nature walks, but if you just want to explore a little bit, by all means, you can. Um, all of the we'll have picnic style lunches. They will be seated, but if you want to go take your your lunch and have it outdoors, you can. Again, that social happy hour daily, a delicious dinner, and then that first full day we'll do a glow in the dark dance party, which should be a lot of fun. On day 3, we're going to do more mindfulness and yoga, which meditation and yoga, which I mentioned some of the different types of workshops. So they're not all the same, but just that practice so people can like get be have that time to reflect, to heal, to be by themselves internally, because we're going to be around a lot of people, but just that healing time for anybody who wants it. We are going to have an outdoor skills workshop, which is going to be led by Paquita, actually, Sandy, who did I did a firearm safety course. Tony, I don't know if you saw that, but that person who led that is also going to do an outdoor skills workshop. They're very skilled. So we as women, we need to know how to handle and protect ourselves. So we gonna learn some things. We're gonna have a queer empowerment workshop, and then probably what I'm looking forward to the most, because I'm a little bit competitive, we're gonna do a field day. And this was during our summer trip last year. We did a field day that was fun. So we're gonna do this with 60 plus people this time around. There will be some built-in free time for those who do want to, do stuff around the camp by themselves on this day. But again, plenty of activities to fill up time and to connect with others. We will have a farewell dinner, and we'll do our final campfire and gratitude circle the last day we are there, the last night we're there. On day 4, we will have a closing ceremony, and it probably won't be yoga, but it will be something to close us out before we pack up and depart. And just so you know, River Mountain is about 2.5 hours away from DC. I know that there are people coming in from other states like Illinois and Wisconsin, even California. And because they're already taking a flight, I'm being proactive and helping people connect about at least a month and a half in advance to arrange for transportation once they get here, but also even local people. I'll have a group chat just for people who want to carpool together, people who are willing to drive and offer a ride, but people who are willing to, be that passenger and keep someone company and maybe kick in some gas money. So all of that, just like with the roommate matching, like there aren't roommate matching on this trip because you select a cabin, they're a themed cabin. There's like a Zen cabin, there's an adventure cabin, there's a turn up cabin, which I will not be in because I like to sleep. But there will be themed cabins, so you don't get to match with a roommate. You're picking who you are picking because of the cabin, but there will be ways to connect with people ahead of time with the carpooling situation. And also each cabin will have its own separate group chat, which will be kind of fun. Okay, so this is what this 3-night, 4-day adventure includes. All of the accommodations, all of the food, lots of restorative and healing, potentially workshops and meditations and yoga for those who like to do that. I probably got one yoga session in me. We're gonna do all the nature stuff, but also just have fun indoors. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna dance. We're gonna talk, we're gonna connect. We're gonna have like some playful, sexy time. There's gonna be like there's one of my friends, she's a sex therapist, and she's actually a sex therapist for television. So she like gets to go on TV shows and work behind the scenes and like coach people and just make sure people's boundaries are being respected. Anyway, she's gonna do a singles thing Like we're gonna have a little fun with that. And yeah, we might have some, yeah, like pretty powerful conversations. But this weekend is mostly about the connection. We're gonna have a good time, but it's a lot about the connection and the people that we're gonna meet. So yes, transportation. Are you raising your hand? You don't have to raise your hand. You could just talk.
I'm so, no, I have one question. So in the bunks, how many bathrooms are there? Where are the bathrooms?
The bathrooms are inside. Let me pull up the website so you can see. Um, don't mind me. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I will pull up the website. Yes. Because I feel like the pictures that I have do not do it justice. Okay, so these are the glamping pods. These are the accommodations. Um,
Hmm.
so there's this main lodge where there are each bedroom has eight pods, four queens and four twins, and then each of those rooms has two bathrooms assigned to it.
Okay.
And then this cabin, these glamping these um they also have two bathrooms internally. There are also external bathrooms that are a short walk away that are by the glamping pod, a little bit closer to the glamping pods that people will have access to as well. And I have thought about, bathrooms being like, we're all women, we all need the bathroom. But we'll all get well versed on like, don't, appropriate and respectful time to have the bathroom. Like nobody's going to be in the bathroom for an hour. And and hopefully like, we won't have timed sessions, but like maybe there are going to be cabin leaders in each cabin. So also those cabin leaders will help like facilitate and encourage people to like, some people take showers in the morning, some people take showers in the evening, just so we're not always, you know, trying to get into the bathroom at the same time of day. This is the yurt. I should put more pictures on the presentation, but the yurt is very spacious. It does sleep up to four people, but you would have to share a bed. And it kind of gives you your own privacy, but yeah, I'm not staying in a yurt. I'm not that adventurous. But the meals are so yummy, and the space is just really, it's beautiful, beautiful space. Um, Probably should include more of these pictures.
Yeah.
And it's camping. I mean, if people really want to bring their own, like if people want to bring their own food and grill out, they have access to that, if they want to. But this trip is intended for you to not have to lift a finger if you don't want to. No, we're not bringing any dogs. But it said dog friendly, but no, we're not gonna bring any dogs. Um, I don't think there are any pictures on here. Oh, but this is like some of the places we'll be experiencing. So like we'll do yoga outside under the sun. This is the greenhouse. We might end up having a meal or two here, but we'll do some of the workshops in here. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. But yeah, it's a really beautiful space. I'm gonna go back to, all right, let me go back here. Present and just wrap this up. Okay, so this is everything that's included. As I mentioned, all the activities, all the workshops. I do have to finalize that schedule. So, but just you have an idea of what type of workshops they're going to be. Transportation and that's pretty much the only thing that isn't included because all the meals are included. So you don't really have to think about that. And then the price for people who are down for a pod, the price is $8.50 for a twin and $9.50 for a queen. For those who want to be in the yurts, for 4 person for a quad, it's $7.50 a person. And for those who want their own yurt all to themselves, they're paying $2,100. All right. Any questions about the summer glamp, Sandy or Tony, other than what we've shared?
No, it's I'm
Well, that
excited.
was perfect. Now I'm kind of interested in that one.
I feel like, not that we don't want you to come on an international trip, but I do feel like the domestic trips are like a good intro, like
Mhm.
into like what you can experience. I mean, you can do an event so you kind of get an idea of the people, but I feel like an event is like 4 hours. And I feel like when you end up on a trip, like you really, like I've really gotten to know some people on trips, like just having a conversation after dinner or, just like going on a walk. You can really get to know like different personalities. And that's where I feel like people can make connections.
Yeah. I think Kelly and I really connected in Spain, so we have an ongoing like friendship relationship since we went to Spain together. So that was pretty cool. Well, we also went to the Virginia trip together too, but yeah. So it is. I find I enjoy the events, but the trips have really been just amazing. So
Thanks, Sandy.
Well,
Do you
thank you
want,
very much.
oh, no problem. Do you guys want to do the cruise or do we want to wrap up? No pressure.
I'm okay because you've already said I know a lot of it already. So, but if Tony would like to see it,
No, I will take a look at it, go back again. I'm gonna look at all of the trips. And yeah, then I'll make a
Okay. I
decision.
just have 2 more pages to share since we're
Okay.
ending here. Just to thank you, if you do ever take a trip, Tony, and you don't sign up in May, I do, and I'll send this out via email just so you have it. But I do offer, just like as a thank you for attending the trip info session, I do offer $100 off any international trip that you can take advantage of anytime and $25 off
are
a
we
domestic.
supposed to be seeing something, Lisa?
Oh, you don't see it?
No, we see your email thing.
My email.
It says River Mountain Workshop. Yeah, now we see you.
Darn it, I was sharing the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
So right now you're running a special on the
There you go. There you go. Now we see it.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, this is just, and if ever you want to book a trip, this is just $100 off. I also, if you ever like have a friend or an acquaintance who you refer and they sign up for a trip, I'll give you a referral bonus in the
Okay.
form of cash, or future trip credit or a current trip that you're already signed up for. So just as a thank you for spreading the word and referring good people, I do that too off of any trip. So each person you can get up to $150 off. And then last but not least, I also put this all in an email and I'll send you an email. Just a thank you for traveling with us, for exploring with us. In the future. I feel like you would be a great addition to any trip. And Sandy's amazing to travel with, so I'm looking forward to another adventure with you too, Sandy.
Thank you. So am I.
Okay. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you.
I no problem. I know it's getting late. Are you gonna make it outside to do your irrigation system?
It is still a little light out there, but if
Okay.
not, I'll do it in the morning. I get up at the crack of dawn, so I'm
I
not
love
too
the
early.
picture on your wall, Tony. I've always loved that picture.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I hope to get to meet you on a trip or something.
You will, and you definitely will. Okay, so I'm gonna go and take a look and figure
Yeah.
it out because I think I've been home too long.
Are you coming to any of the upcoming events?
Yes, there's one coming up in this Monday,
Cute and Queer Sunday.
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 Don't come Monday, Tony.
You said don't come here Monday.
Don't come Monday. You gonna help
So
me
you may
clean
come,
up.
but you're not getting in.
You're gonna help me plant something if you come here on Monday. It's just gonna be me and you working on my garden. No,
Well,
I'll
I
send
look,
out the details by Wednesday, so you'll get an email.
Okay, thank you.
I look forward to meeting you on Sunday, Tony.
Okay, have a great evening.
You as well. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you guys. See you Sunday.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.